republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Diane Allen. Here. Brandon Morrissey.
Here.
Jamie Schiffer.
Here.
Joseph Turner.
Here.
Calvin Ellis.
Here.
Okay, acknowledgements and announcements. The transfer station permits expire September 30th. New permits for the period October 1st through September 30th will be available for purchase starting on September 1st at the town clerk's office via mail drop or online. See the town website for any details. Early voting will be starting soon for the September 9th election primary. And early voting will start on August 20th and run through September 8th. And early voting will be held at the new town hall located at 742 Rhode, Rhode, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 p.m. Okay, and approval of the general, of the agenda order.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of the consent agenda, and does anyone have anything to pull? Communications, I'm gonna pull 15 and and 10.
Well, Diane, that was two of mine, plus 8 and 9. And I do have a question before we move on. I see that we received here tonight a letter dated July 14th from the ACLU, and it's not part of our communication.
That's 10. Oh, that's 10.
It did not come to the clerk's office. It came via a phone call today that letter was around. I don't know if it went directly to Diane's email, but we don't have it in our emails. So anyway, it was sent to me, and I made the copies for the council, and I think they're here, they want to speak about it. But up to that point, I checked Lynn's email, there's no letter in the email anywhere from there. And it's addressed to Diane's, I don't know if it went directly to her email or what. That's why it doesn't have a communication number.
Okay, well,
It also went to mail.
Yeah, I had something on 10. I don't know.
well, at some point, then I guess we need to add it for next month.
Next month.
Because it's rather
I just want to
timely.
make sure you got it, because they wanted to speak, but I didn't give it a number yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that number 10 here is something different from what you got there.
I know, I thought so too. I thought the 10 was, but that's different.
Yeah.
It's a different issue. All right, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Does anyone else want open communications?
We took mine.
All right, the bill sheet, I'm gonna pull the bill sheet for two things. The surety bonds, that's under J in new business, so I think we'll be discussing that. And I'd also like to pull the over 40 hours and after 40 hours stipend invoices and move those to executive session for next month. Do I need to make a motion on that? Okay, first I'll make a motion to move surety bonds to new business J because it is on the agenda there. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I wanted to move the over 40 hours and after 40 hours stipend invoices. I wanted to move those to September executive session. Do I have a second?
Second. Go ahead, Jamie got it.
Discussion. Anybody have anything else? Full minutes? We're all here, right? We're all up here. I think we're all here. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, excluding the charity bond and the overtime, over 40 hours. In the bill sheet.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We will move on into vacancies. Personnel board. Exeter Rural Land Preservation Trust Committee member, 3 needed. Board of Tax and Assessment Review alternate member, nothing. Reynolds Charitable Trust member, we do have
Yes,
some.
one.
Ross Acre, I think he'd be a good
What was that?
he'd be a good addition. And we do have, so I'll make a motion to appoint Ross Acre to the charitable, Reynolds Charitable Trust Committee, as a charitable trust committee.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Planning board clerk, no one. Tax collector clerk,
She's working on that.
deputy treasurer, still working on that. Resignations, none. Appointments, none. Expiring term. Okay, we have a public hearing for the Tilted Barn. Did anyone sign up? No. Hold on. This is for the public entertainment license application for the Tilted Barn. 1A Hemsley Place. I think probably everyone's been there. Is anyone here to represent that?
We open public hearing.
There you go. Oh, just a minute. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the Tilted Barn, approval of a public entertainment license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
How are you?
Hey, Matt.
Hey, how are you? Good to see everybody. This is the same event we've had. This is our 5th annual event, actually, doing this. And so, similar as in the past, it's a ticketed event. We sell about 350 tickets just to keep the numbers, somewhat calm for us. We do samples of 3-ounce samples of beer for everyone that comes, so it's not a lot of drinking. It's more of like trying different samples of different beer from different breweries from all around. It's about a 3-hour event. We have Sergeant Miller and his team there helping with traffic and keep things in control. Every year it's been great. Like I said, our 5th year, haven't had any issues yet, so just want to do it again this year.
Great. It's a good event. Thank you.
Thanks.
No one wishes to speak.
And we had no wishes to speak. This really is a nice event.
Might say the absence of comment speaks well for what you've been doing, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll make a motion to approve the Tilted Brewery entertainment license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, now we have public comments, and comments are not limited to the items on this agenda. However, items not on the agenda will only be heard and not acted upon by the town council unless they are of an emergency nature. 3-minute time limit per person, 15-minute maximum time. Section 42-46-6 of the Open Meetings Act and the Town Council bylaws prohibit the town council from deliberating, debating, or acting on previously unposted matters during the public comment section of the agenda. State law prohibits the town council from acting or voting on any such matters except under emergency circumstances. The town council may only, if warranted, refer such matters to an appropriate committee, to another body or official, or post the matter for consideration at a properly noticed future meeting. I'm not going to read all the rest because I just had a shot in my eye and it's hard to read. Okay, so public comment. The first person we have is Wendy Benner.
Good evening, I'm here to talk about the last town special meeting we had at Ballroom, and about the signs that were placed at the town council table. Nobody knows if those signs, you knew about them, that they were even there. No one is saying that you knew they were there. Someone has admitted putting them there. The signs were about Club America, a high school organization founded by Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA is a nonprofit, politically conservative white nationalist group whose political and religious views do not belong in the town council meeting. Maybe you didn't know that this organization, so let me tell you about it. Turning Point USA's views include, by their own admission, on September 12th, Charlie Kirk stated, "The passing of the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. DEI is turning back to an anti-white weapon." Kirk also made many hateful statements against the Jewish community, the LGBTQ+ community, and the trans community. Kirk's ideologies go on to say, "Until we cleanse the United States of the neoliberal quasi-Marxist policies, we don't have a safe future." Turning Point USA is promoted at colleges for the purpose of expanding their white national Christian narrow-minded views. Their views about women are very concerning to me, and I'm sure for many other women in Exeter. The gentleman that stated on Facebook he placed the signs there at the table, was he actually promoting Charlie Kirk's Club America? I don't know. He is on the school committee, and that is concerning to me. Kirk stated he wants women to reject feminism and submit to their husbands and remind women they're not in charge. That's a quote. He also believes deep down women are begging for men to leave them. That's a quote. I'm not begging any man for anything. However, the worst ideologies that reject feminism was stated by the keynote speaker at a San Antonio summit, who voiced support for 1 vote per household. And you can guess who that vote was coming from. The man. I'm sure no one in this town council wants to be associated with propaganda of political and religious views when they would be losing votes in Exeter now and in the future. Is this in our high school? Can anybody answer that question? Because that group is a teen group that is in for high school age children. The inconspicuous sign amounts to astroturfing. Whether the town council members knew the signs, what they were or not, they never should have been placed based on the bias of the Turning Point's agenda. Turning Point USA is an astroturfing organization, meaning they rely on deception and practice of disguising and orchestrating corporate and political campaigns as a spontaneous, authentic grassroots movement.
Excuse me for the 3 minutes.
Okay. One more thing, because we didn't get the letter in. It was emailed on the 14th and mailed on the 14th. And we got another email from the ACLU today saying the meeting was tonight. They hadn't heard from you.
speak tonight. 6 years ago, my wife and I bought a little cabin in Exeter that we are lovingly restoring. It was a mess, I guarantee you. And bit by bit, it has become our little slice of heaven, and we've grown to really care about our neighbors and the community. And that's why we attended the Exeter Town Council's July 8th meeting. But we were shocked and appalled when we walked into that meeting room and saw those two posters prominently displayed in front of the council's table. Those signs, sponsored by Club America, founded by Turning Point USA, sent a strong message that people like us, a legally married lesbian couple, were not welcome. To many of you, there is nothing offensive about a sign that says, and I quote, faith, family, freedom. But to people like me, who are very aware of the language used by ultra-conservative hate groups, those words send a very clear message. As Exeter property owners, taxpayers, and community members, we have the right to walk into a public town meeting and not feel threatened. Those signs were not related to town business conducted at that meeting, so why were they allowed to be displayed? Make no mistake, I am a strong believer in free speech, but not free speech cloaked in hate. I look forward to hearing your response to Rhode Island ACLU's letter, which is mailed to you July 14th.
Thank you. Asa Davis?
Asa Davis, 146 Beechwood Hill Trail. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. In these days of AI, it might be changing, but AI wasn't used to generate or modify any of this. Last meeting, I don't know how many words Martina Belligian used to say Mark Inicelli wasn't a party to my driveway blockage, but here's one picture. This is a screenshot from my truck dash cam. Mark and his truck are dead center blocking my driveway. Martina Belligian is at his driver's side mirror. Greg Sir is sitting on his riding mower. Was everybody there for the whole 2 or 3 hours until the state police came and told them to disperse? No, I think Sir went to get lunch and came back. Does it matter? Not really. The point is, I couldn't leave for a few hours, and yes, Inicelli was a part of it, and Belligian knows it. Next, deeds and titles. By legal definition and substantial case precedent, the land under paper streets is not town property for good reason. We had a title search done, and according to Peter Apter, a title attorney with 3 decades of experience in southern New England, the land past the Estate Drive cul-de-sac edge is not town property. The deeded fee simple owner is still Wood Estates. Highlights from that report. As of July 31, 2026, 5 p.m., records show Wood Estates Incorporated is the owner in fee simple. 2, subject to the following encumbrances. Number 14, a stipulation by Wood Estates and John S. Salone and Asa S. Davis III, dated and reported May 16, 2023, in Land Evidence Records, Book 607, page 339. Third, last but certainly not least, notes, no document was found in the Land Evidence Records transferring title to any portion of the State Drive to the town of Exeter, nor any acceptance by the town of Exeter of the State Drive as a town road or roadway. Jim Marusak, Sipol and Sylvia's predecessor, was town solicitor when this happened, along with a bunch of the other paper streets that were created. This is a big problem for the town. So paper streets, you saw the King's Crossing emails. The town doesn't own the land under Joe Turner's house, even though it's a paper street, just like it doesn't own the land past the estate cul-de-sac. The town can't put a locked gate across the front of its house. It can't put one across my estate driveway either. The Wood Estates Aslan stipulation gives me the freedom to do what I want, when I want, how I want with that land. You disclaimed ownership in my favor, not the town's. I can use it for a driveway, record a right-of-way, and get a 911 address. It's not town property. Diane, what you wrote about me being a trespasser, nothing more, that's wrong and defamation. Mr. Shappy, you're on video installing that locked gate. No surprise, there's no public record of the council or solicitor ordering you to do that, so there's no just following orders. You're on the hook for this. This is an unlawful seizure. Every day is a new offense. Remember, the town doesn't have to cover you if you break the law. If you give me a key and remove the signs, that stops the clock on new instances at least. Are you ready to do that? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
15 minutes, 5 seconds. Always have to let him know that,
Mark? Lyles?
When does my time actually start? Because this kind of reminds me of the, having to go up in front of the Admiral of War College that I was professor and chair, the new Admiral, and he set me down and he said, can you tell me in 3 minutes everything you've done in your life, and start off in high school, and how good were you at sports? And I looked at him and went, It's all West Kentucky Conference as a sophomore in high school. I've got 8 college degrees, 2 doctorates, 3 other masters. Selected for the astronaut program, #1 by the Navy. I don't know where you want me to stop with all this, but here's the thing. When I signed up at the last meeting, I thought that when you signed up to talk, you were gonna have a chance to talk. We talked, Diane, and you're first to talk on next week's town meeting as we continue the meeting. We never did. I put too much blood and life into defending the rights of Americans. All of you, 33 years, things you don't ever want to know or see. And I expect that if you give me any respect at all, you'll let me talk about things that need to be talked about. Been a lot of places, seen a lot of things. The federal government gives me the highest security clearances that you can get, I mean the highest. I would like the fact to contribute my knowledge about things that you guys have come up against or with and give you my opinion on it. But I was promised that I'd get my chance to talk on what I want to say, and I'd be limited to 3 minutes. I believed you guys. And I'm sorry to say, that was not truthful. You'll find me, as Mad Dog used to tell me, no better friend, no worse enemy. I want you guys to start thinking about what the people of Rhode Island or Exeter want to say and listen to them. And that's all I get across from you guys. Then, as my classes, I would say, speak truth to power. So I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Allen?
Yes, thank you. I won't be able to stand up because of my knee problem, but I hope it's all right.
I can hear you.
I want to discuss parts of our comprehensive plan, and that calls for, I think it says every 3 years, for the council, the town solicitor, and the planning board to review antiquated or wrong ordinances that have been passed. And I'd like to point out a couple if I can. I know that we're going to work in time. We have, it looks like another meeting coming up someday in the future. It's going to be time that's going to pass. There's going to be a lot of dialogue. But there are some really important issues that need to be faced right now that I think are really emergencies. The main one I'm thinking of right now is the ordinance passed in 2003 that outlaws and prohibits any vehicle to be parked outside that's over 20,000 GVW in any residential zone, it says. And I remember how it was passed, and I've spoken to the town councilman who did it, and that was in response to a problem in the Cedar Grove area. And my suggestion and my hope is that someone might see to it that that is adjusted to a public hearing to include a minor change saying something like they're prohibited in high-density residential zones. I know that leaves a lot of room for error, but it's a lot less than the way it is now. And it does give the planning board and the zoning board latitude. Now, there's another law on the books, and that's the water overlay district. And the way we have it right now is, it's illegal to have a single-family home in it. And the council, in the absence of changing it, has ignored that law. And they've passed out orders, building permits in that area. And have, ever since that came about 3 years ago. So, why haven't they done that to the trucks? Okay, I think the trucks need attention. There are people with hundreds of acres of land that are technically illegal. Or if I'm in a 4-acre zone and I own 12 acres and no one can see my truck and I got it there on my backhoe, it's illegal. So I think I would hope the council would look at that and make an adjustment, just to get, as a stopgap, before this whole thing gets to change. It may take a long time, and it would help a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom McMillan?
Yes, thank you. If I may sit down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd just like to briefly put some comments on record about a subject that I'm sure all of you are very well familiar with. And that's this major housing complex being proposed down the road here. On 120 acres, zoned RU4. It was described to the Planning Commission, to the Planning Board by Crossroads Capital, I believe is their name. And following that, our planner made an excellent, lengthy, very pointed, item by item by item comment on all the issues that proposal raised. Chiefly among these rules that the new proposal by the state totally ignores is that there is no municipal water or sewage disposal system in the town of Exeter. You totally ignore that and plunk down the idea of a 300 home family complex right in the middle of that. And it certainly would demand public water and public sewer at that density. In addition to which, we have the police force or full-time fire force, and you're all aware of that. But those lacks could easily create a lot of pressure for us to create such a board, millions of dollars. 300 residences on 120 acres is actually 30 times what the zoning ordinance allows. And that's all based on well capacity and waste treatment capacity that the land itself can support. Now, that property is ringed on all 4 sides by abutters. 10 of us, including me on Cobblestone Hill, quite a few down Widow Sweets, 10 Rhode Road, and then lastly over in Forest Hills where there's 40 or so homes. And I'm sure all of these abutters, the ones I've talked to, have a living fear that their wells are going to be sucked dry by 300 homes. And if that should happen, your home becomes completely valueless. And people that have spent a lifetime building up an asset would suddenly be without that. They could end up homeless or destitute. And certainly when 600 or 800 people, and that's probably what you get in 300 homes or more, when those people all draw tap water, flush, use the shower, and heaven help us, water their lawns, I'm sure we're going to have trouble with our wells. North Kingstown is able to limit their water in times of drought. We couldn't do that. They also require regular, periodic service of their septic systems, is an interesting point. I think one of our other friends here is going to comment on some aspects of the
Go for 3 minutes.
state constitution, and so I'll pass on the rest of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Frank Di Gregorio?
speak?
Frankie's back. Yeah, it feels good to be in there again.
And he's
On
well,
this side of on the table.
and he's well.
I don't have any comments at this point in time. I just would like to recommend that the council address my letter that I had sent. It's listed in the communication center section. And because it's very important in terms of the survival of our town as a rural community. And I think it's a very serious issue that needs to be addressed. And I will be here to answer any questions concerning that letter and expand on it if necessary. Thank you.
Diane Follett, Frank, Diane Follett. Diane pulled your letter.
Thank you, Diane.
If she hadn't, I would have, right?
Ted Natale? Well, you put us back.
Let's see. At the last town council meeting during public comment, I've asked about an item under executive section, various unfiled and/or threatened matters. I hope that it might find its way to the current agenda, but apparently it has not. It is once again on the agenda under executive session, general. I believe the citizens of Exeter need to know what this means. Who's threatening us, or the town council? Or is this the council being paranoid? I also believe that we should be told who is placing this on the agenda and why. I'm submitting this letter to the council so it may appear on next year's agenda correspondence. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, somebody's saying we're being threatened. Sometimes I think it's after Asa, but I'm not sure about that. And I also think this kind of violates the open meeting law. You're putting something out there that nobody can understand. Threatening matters. So what are threatening matters? Don't we have the right to know if something's going on? Why is everybody so threatened? So I think that you people owe the town of Exeter an explanation as to why that's there. I think I know, but there you go.
Thank you. Okay, now for new business. Town planner's request for approval for a peer review of 10 Rhode neighborhood.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, honorable members of the Town Council. My name is William Pascal, the Town Planner. Before you, you will have a request or a proposal from Tar Engineering, and they're a multidisciplinary firm that does engineering, science, and also scientists and planners. As we heard tonight, the comp permits are on us as a town and throughout the entire state of Rhode Island. We will be considering a master plan soon for 300 homes, dwelling units up the street on 10 Rhode on a parcel that had some history. In order for the town to adequately address whether or not this is going to have a short and long-term impact on the residents, we need our engineering, in this case, to provide expert services over hydrologic evaluation reports, we heard tonight, traffic impact studies, stormwater management reports, on-site wastewater treatment, and fiscal impact. And maybe one more, blasting and how that would affect or could affect neighboring wells. Without having experts on our side, it will be impossible to properly gauge and make a determination of whether or not that development or any other development will adversely impact the town. The laws are the laws the way they are. The comp permits coming in fast and furious, and this is probably not the first time I'm going to be in front of this board on a peer review. Now, the good news is the ordinance in section 3.3 of the land development regulations does require the applicant to put up, in this case, about $60,000. You're still going to be short about $4,000. If we would like blasting as an assessment to see whether or not the neighboring properties are going to be ill-affected, then we'll probably add $7,000 to that. So what I'm asking is if the board can give me the authority to work with these professionals to see if we can come in with an agreement at 70,000 to include blasting and the assessment of both the master plan and the preliminary, will have someone on our side to rebut what is generally testimony in the positive from a petitioner. Are there any questions for me?
I have a
No, I
comment.
totally agree. It's the only way we'll know if other people are going to be affected.
Yeah, I'd
I
like,
think we have to go with the whole thing with the other 7,000 to make sure that Forest Hills, their west, and the people on the east of that project are not going to lose their water.
Absolutely, and I
Because
think
I don't think that's possible.
you're right, when the comp permit legislation was put in, and I long argued that there should be an urban service boundary as a percentage of what that bonus is. And instead of doing that, they have this omnibus package that treats properties that are serviced by sewerage and public water the same as rural communities that rely on septic. And not just septic for percolation, but nutrient loading, pollutant loading, and well yield. And whether or not that well yield is gonna have an adverse impact on the residents. There's a reason why we have 4-acre zoning, 5-acre zoning. There's a reason. And that reason is each lot needs to be sustainable with their own septic system and water. Now, septic has improved over time in terms of efficiency, but water yield hasn't.
No, it's
So we're
the
still
same
in this,
amount of
quagmire. I know we have an ever-growing Route 102, that we have to understand the traffic impacts of that on this route and other routes for other comp permits that are come forward. And the way the law is written now, I can't stop comp permits from coming in. We need 60 units, but only after the certificate of occupancy is issued. So what can happen is that faucet doesn't dry up until those 60 are actually certificate of occupancy. So that means I could have 1,000 units, reach my 60 in 3 years, and still have those units on the books. That will absolutely crush this town. And I was here in front of this honorable body a year and a half ago, describing the impacts of this particular legislation at the state. I hate to say that it's come to fruition, and it's not over. Every day I sit up in that office, and I see generation and generation come. First generation, we want to preserve. Second generation is, I'll preserve and maybe cut one lot. Then the next one is, I got all lots being divided. And then, oh really, well I can have an in-law, now I get 3 dwelling units an acre, do the math. 3 dwelling units an acre plus what you have on all your properties. Your diversification is horrible here. We have 0 business development, virtually. You have all your money in one stock. We need to do something. They're tough decisions. Something needs to happen. The null set of nothing happening on property is over. Whether it was solar in the past, whether it was mixed-use development, there will be discussions on all the open lots that are here in town. And we just have to be rational and make those difficult decisions as a community together. And we can do it. Thank you.
go.
Thank you. Cal had a comment.
I wanted to speak to this. Because I want to make sure you all understand what I've been hearing, and I'm sure they all have. Oh, Cal, you can't let any of these housing developments come into town. And my answer has been the same. It's state legislation that has led us to this, not him. And all I can say is, Bill, if anyone tries to minimize your importance to us in this town, shame on them. I don't think they do, and I hope to God they won't. Because, Bill, what you've just presented to us speaks volumes about your concern for this town. And it's serious. He's right in the fact that Bill spoke to us a couple months ago about this peer review. And he wanted us to authorize him to go out and capture that and create or bring it back to us, as he has done tonight. And I just want to say, I think I speak for all of us, thank you very much for what you've done in trying to guide us where we have to go. And I saw the $63,000 price tag, and I thought, wait just a minute. don't the developers have to pick some of this up? And you've said yes, correct?
Yes, in this case, 60,000. So we'd be out at most
Well-
market 10,000.
A few thousand one way or another, it's just the fact that that's a big price tag and we won't pay it, the developer will. And I would think they'd know where it might lead. I mean, we just said it, we all said it. This is dangerous, it's not dangerous, it's, you know, it's significant. Significant, threatening. Thank you. That's all I want to say is thank you.
Shoved down our throats by the state, right,
Right.
Frank?
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the peer review for 10 Rhode neighborhood farm. And I would like to do that 7,000, I want the neighbors and the water and how that's gonna affect the neighbors as part of that peer review.
Oh, second that motion.
Howard? You can't talk.
We got a motion on the floor, Howard.
Motion.
Can't talk. We're gonna let Paul go.
Okay, any discussion?
Your wife did a good job.
You need it, you need it
Shut them
well.
off.
Bless you.
Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your work. Really appreciate it. You hear that? Did he leave? He left.
No, he's right
Oh, he's
there.
back.
He's not leaving.
Thank you.
He's gotta stay.
I thought he left.
He's got more stuff.
He's got more stuff for us.
Okay, all right, B is a request of Bob Harding for the use of Reynolds M. Let's see, this is the eye. I got the shot in the eye today, so I'm having trouble seeing. Ben Harding, the use of the Reynolds Field for the girls softball league.
I've been called much worse, I'm sure, so. Happy to say that my subject's a little lighter than what we've been hearing tonight. So basically, I'm Ben Harding. I'm the owner of 710 Rhode, front and back. I currently donate the front use to a nonprofit youth girls softball league, or I guess club. It's just a batting cage they use. They've been lacking field access for outdoor practice fields. We've been using some in SK and so forth. Those of you, for a little bit of history, we had a car come off of 10 Road, hit a building, catching on fire. There was litigation that went on round and round for a couple of years. Finally got that all cleaned up. And I was thinking that was a good opportunity, once we got the building cleaned up and the land cleared, to possibly give them a practice field there. As we got into some of the planning of that, I realized it's not as simple as just getting that done. There was zoning things, it might need to be recreation used, we need plans, and it looked like it was something that was gonna cost quite a bit of money and some years to get done and get the kids out there. So I took a different approach and I tried to look for maybe some stuff that was extra based that would already be accommodating for it, zoned that way or whatever. And that's when I got ahold of Rob about Reynolds Memorial area there. And he was saying, ironically, they were thinking about like bringing that back to life and redoing the infield and stuff that was there. So I just wanted to discuss the possibility of having that be the home for the girls that were there. Not really sure of the whole process, I'm new to requesting things like this, but I know I have many families, volunteers, coaches that are already active, ready to, you know, go there, help out. If it's maintaining the field, capital improvement, if we knew that was a good home for us and we were kind of guaranteed use of it, I don't see any problem with them participating and helping in some ways or whatever ways needed. Our goal would probably be to have a long-term home, and we'd also like to have that secured so we can continue to provide any of the things we're doing for the youth girls softball stuff for Exeter residents, of course, for free of charge. We want to be able to continue doing that, but that requires us to have, you know, the infrastructure we need to do it, and if we're having to go and like bid and rent fields from other areas, that makes it more difficult.
And we're also noticing when we go to these other fields, we're attracting families from like South Kingstown, Charrow and stuff, which is fine, but our home base is kind of here, and it sort of, that's sort of where I'm focused on trying to grow it. And sometimes we don't get the right attention from the locals when we're projecting out to another field or going to another town. They're not seeing it happening in front of them. We did put a little bit of signage out to let people know we were there. And longer term, I guess I'd still like to know if, like, we can use that space I have and land there for some sort of recreation use that way. But that'll buy us a lot of time to figure out what the long-term plan is, how, if it's affordable, if everyone agrees, to the use of it being that and all of those things. So in the meantime, if they do have on the books to kind of bring that field back to life, I'd like it considered and maybe discussed if, you know, people want to ask me questions and see if that would be a good use for it. And if further, they would like to see like an actual Exeter, like youth recreation softball league or something there, or what the vision would be for the town folks. And I'd like to kind of play into that and continue to grow that and allow these, you know, families, and including my own kids, to continue to use those kind of locations and get them kind of home-based here in Exeter. So I don't know if there's any questions for me or any comments about that I make.
I do. Rob, can you speak to it? What do you think it will be the impact? Is it a possibility, do you think?
Thank you, Cal. I absolutely think it's a fantastic idea. You know, my vision, I put in a line item for that field a couple years ago for $1 million to grow that to a complex, if you will, for, you know, we got a playground here at Chelsea Park for the little ones. I'm looking for something more adolescent into the older folks, my age, pickleball, things like that. There's room there to expand. I see other communities that have a complex and they're using it. Some places that go over on the highway, you look over down it, it's lit up, and there's 10 o'clock at night, the kids are playing, you see little ones. It's just, I believe my vision kind of aligns with what he's trying to do for the community, to have a place, walking track, pickleball, lighting, security.
But don't go too far yet.
Well, I have a vision, my visions are big.
I know yours is big. I'm trying to figure out is his, it's big,
Oh, I think it's
as big as
fantastic.
yours.
It's nonprofit. What could be better? There's some, for the last few years, only one, from what I understand, a North Kingstown group was reserving the field for like one evening per night. And so that would have to be taken into account, that others can reserve and do it without arguing, because I'm hearing like, you hear about all these other communities, they're having these fights, and I didn't know any of that was going on, and some people belittling others for coming in, and all kinds of nonsense. But to offer Exeter girls softball a home base, that sounds wonderful to me, and I think we can accommodate.
Look, we never, you know, we never fight about anything here in Exeter. But no, I want to know if the condition already exists, will be compatible with what he wants to do, but does
I
the
think
town
so.
have to spend?
I think so,
a
no,
deal of
there's
money?
not much spend. Since the penalty phase with DEM, I lost the front parking area. That's why we moved to that second area. After I went by there in a couple of the evenings, and you see 9 vehicles out there and just one team practicing, we're gonna expand that parking lot just by 10 feet, and it'll accommodate enough cars for the 2 teams that would have to be on a playing time. So that's the only thing I gotta do, is expand that parking lot, which that was just something, I wanted it in the loop form because the kids with the donuts and they're ripping up and destroying, and so I kind of limited that space, but I still want to expand so I have more parking spots to accommodate the 2 teams that would be involved if there was a game at the time.
See, I wasn't thinking of parking, I was thinking of the facility, the
Yeah,
grass
you gotta
was
have- you gotta
there.
park them.
Is it, well, no, I get that,
Yeah.
but what about the surface, what about the grass?
We're right there. I mean,
Is
it's
it
just
something that can be
overgrown.
used?
It's just overgrown a little bit right now. I had all the silt, we brought it in, I had the fully Babe Ruth, like the little kids. I'm not familiar with a lot of that, but I had it, an official size field for the little, Babe Ruth, I guess it is. The young kids there, and, so it's all silted, we had the baseline, so, you know.
Yeah, it looks like the infield needs to be scraped because it's all grown in with weeds, and then just infield mix put down.
Yep.
And then as long as it's being used and maintained, then the weeds don't come back, it doesn't grow back.
We have
It's
one,
being dragged in between.
one group that rents it for practice field Wednesday evenings from 5 to 7, and that's it. That's using that field, so I welcome it.
So we have a permit process for that field, is that correct? We have a permit process for that?
I know that, that you can request time on that. Now, I don't know how that is, I usually refer them to go see the,
Been dealing with the
clerks and stuff like that, to sign out, and they get that, and they have that, and they can reserve the field.
Because you can't go in and just start a game, you gotta have a permit to do that.
Right, and it keeps it organized, right, we keep it
Right
organized.
now, I mean, not
Yeah,
this
I
year,
think
but
that's
right now.
mainly about making sure that people are on there, if they're hosting a game, have the proper third-party insurance. So
Sure,
if something
yeah.
happens, it doesn't fall back in the town, and that's what the permitting process would need to be there. And that's the same thing we do, anytime we use a field, we have to go get an insurance rider and make sure that field we're on is named, so that the people that are allowing us to host there will know that they're covered. If anything happens, they're not on the hook.
So you have a time frame that you be using it?
I would love to
Season?
use it right away, as soon as it's
Right away,
ready.
but I mean, where do you go to, like October, you start in May?
So our year goes September to September is kind of our calendar year, and then obviously, fields usually open up in April-ish, depending on how the weather is and how much rain we've had, and mud and things like that. And then we usually close down, September or October-ish. Sometimes you can stretch it into October and get to about Halloween time.
But these are Exeter kids.
Yeah, they're Exeter.
Yeah, now, I mean, just from my knowledge of the youth area of girls that we have, I would want it, you'd almost have to include surrounding towns to come in to have enough players to round out the teams. But my focus would be primarily make it convenient for Exeter residents, and then any of those residents that live in Exeter, we would want that to be cost-free to them. If, South Kingstown wants to come in and use it, they may subsidize whatever cost that we have or something. That's kind of the
Would you
plan
be
that I would
playing
have.
probably teams from other towns?
You could invite other towns in too, but what I'd like to do is get a good base for the players that are coming in that want to play with us now and practice and do everything. What starts to happen, I heard some things mentioned about other fields and stuff. People get possessive of the fields if they get on them and have access to them for a couple of reasons. One, sometimes they're usually putting a lot of volunteer effort to maintain the field, dragging in between and keeping them in good shape, maybe even putting money into capital improvements. We'd be willing to do the same if we had a field. But of course, you don't want to do that on a field that someone's just going to take that effort and then boot you off and someone else is on, or come in and maybe ruin it or do something to use it up or whatever. So they get a little bit possessive. I know, like, we've looked at other local areas. I don't know if the Lynham Fields are part of Exeter, if that's West Greenwich, but I know they're locked down, like they wouldn't let our kids go on there at all because they have that, there's like a for-profit leagues program that uses it, and then the schools use it. And basically, if you say, hey, can we get it, they're like, no, it's taken. It's always occupied even though it's on it, because they don't want people going in. There are other areas, and like the fields we are using are like, right now we use West Kingston Park a lot from SK, but you have to go in through the permitting process, and as long as like it's available, you can put in for it, and then you pay like $20 an hour and you can use it, but that's obviously a cost to the residents, and it's moving our Exeter base to say, drive to South Kingstown to use it. It's not like a permanent home, and we obviously can't put signage up, we can't do anything for the kids, or get a sponsor, and put their banner or something up, because that's the way these usually are funded. We get a home base, we can say, hey, this is the home base of South County Rec or Exeter Rec or whatever they want to call it, and then some of the, you get local sponsors, and you can thank them, put a little banner up for the season, and they throw, whatever, $400 your way, and then that helps get the uniforms for the kids or whatever it is you need, or maybe maintain the field if it needs certain improvement. So there's things like that that can play into it. Obviously, it would depend on what the town would want to see out of it, how much effort, we'd have to, put in, and based on that effort, we'd be like, well, as long as we know we have a field to play on, it's worth it. If we were gonna do all this effort, but then it was just a roulette of, you might get it, you might not, and I go, well, let the other person do the work then if I'm not gonna use it, or if I still have time for the field. So it's about finding that home base that we call your home field, and then we can build from there. And that's what's limiting, I think, the nonprofit right now is just an outdoor field. And like I said, it would be probably optimal in our mind to have it right behind the facility I'm donating, but if zoning and stuff is in question, then that could take years.
What's the
before.
ages of the players?
Our youngest are around 6, and our oldest are just going to be turning in 16, or, well, 16 new, which would be 15. So our first group we started with as 8Us are now turning 15. So that's, and it started with literally like, my older daughter, a couple of her friends, team, they wanted somewhere to work out in the winter time. I said, I got a building, I can clear it out, we'll put a cage in there, and then I just let them start using it, and then it turned into the nonprofit came in and said, hey, we can use this more often, bring a few more kids in, and then the families started to come in from there. I think we're up to probably about 50 families are utilizing stuff now.
Calvin,
Yeah, again, I just, first of all, we have facial expressions from the interim clerk. Did you want to add something or a question, Pat? Because you've seen the process here.
I do. You're talking kids from everywhere though, not just Exeter kids.
Well, I want to be more
Because
focused.
Exeter West Greenwich, Lanham School, is our home base versus girls softball.
Okay.
My granddaughter played softball for a few years, and that's our home base for girls softball, for Exeter West Greenwich. So I don't get what you're trying to do over here. You're trying to, your group across the street is a group that's already established with
Well, there's new
kids
kids
from
always
all
coming
over,
in.
right?
Well, there's always new.
Right, but I mean, it's establishing kids all over, not just Exeter kids. We're getting away from the Exeter part, we're going on to, it could be from Coventry or
Well,
something,
we
you know.
wouldn't exclude others, but it wouldn't be free for them if they weren't Exeter residents. But we wouldn't exclude someone coming in saying, hey, we want to participate, because we do need more, the more numbers, the more
Right,
teams
and you
you're
want
gonna
this
need and so
field to
forth.
be the home field
For, yeah.
this group that would encompass
softball,
all of the kids.
And I'd be willing to speak to anyone who's doing
Yeah, it is
current
free for
stuff too.
Exeter
Yeah.
children.
I just know like Lionfield, they wouldn't let us go there. and
No,
use
because
that,
it's a school, yeah, that's our home base for our girls softball.
but- Yeah, so, school admin too.
Can I suggest that if we really would like to think about it, I think we should, could you come back next month with some actual written proposals of what you want to see? Because it seems to me that we, see, typically, from what I understand, the town clerk has given permission for a group to use it on a night, like Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's been any more than that, and we have not reacted to that. We've only been informed in the past that the clerk has issued this. It's not perfect, it doesn't cost anything. It's there because we want people to use it. That's my understanding. But if we get into more than you're suggesting, like it's a permanent for you folks, I'd like to see what you think, I'd just like to see something in writing from you as to what you would want the town to agree to, so that we have a.
Well, I'm pretty open at this point, but if you want me to come up with like a mind's eye of what I could do, we could start the
Well,
conversation from there.
I thought we should have something on paper, but I'm not speaking for them, so that's my thought. I don't know how they feel.
Yeah, I could do that. Like a
Did you
sample
want to,
proposal.
could he come back next month
Yes,
with
we'll
something?
continue.
But in other words, I think we're not shutting the door on
That's
you.
Rob.
We're not closing the door, but we're asking
Yeah.
you to be with more specificity.
Calvin, excuse me, is this in finding the water, is this a problem?
No, I don't think it has anything to do
That's
with
not the
water.
problem here.
No,
Okay.
no, this is girls softball. Is that okay?
Yeah, I
Makes
just
sense?
wanted to present the idea, so I wasn't sure if I needed anything in writing or anything. I just-
Well, I think, well, I can't speak for the rest of them, but I think that you
Maybe
should.
work with Rob.
I have a question. Pat, you said that Lineham had a girls softball league. What's the age group there? Because he says his tops off at 16. What is the other field, that's the home field, because I didn't know, like,
Lynham has 4 fields up there.
but, no, the group of children, like their age groups.
Just there are 4 fields up there, which is our girls softball, that's the West Drummond Regional School District.
Okay,
And they run
Age
right
group.
from the kids right on.
from the 8-year-olds that he
Right
discussed.
on Oaks Road, yeah.
So
yeah.
that
Even
confused me a
younger,
little bit.
sixes.
Yep, it's actually West Drummond, girls softball.
Yes, that part confuses me a little bit. I didn't know there was a home field, so yes, if you could do what Cal asked and present something, you have my support. But it's gotta make sense. You know what I mean, for the council here. That's what I got. Thank you.
We say September because we meet once a month.
Yeah, we'll
That's
come
fine.
back on the first Monday, that's Labor Day. The Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. Wait, that's primary
No, the
election.
9th is the primary.
Oh, that's right, because they put it off. Put it off, okay.
And I'll just
Come
put
back
together a
and
little.
we'll talk more about it, okay?
Sounds good, all right.
All right, thank you for
Appreciate
doing
your time.
that.
Yep,
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
And we,
Woo!
and we continue this.
Yep.
That was a long one.
Yep.
Carrie. C is the tax assessor collector, proposed amendments to chapter 42, article 5, veterans with service-connected total disability tax exemption. And Carrie's been working on this for a while. It's gone through the state house process, and now we're back to an ordinance and application.
So I got a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideally, if there's no amendments, it would go to public hearing in September.
And it looks great. You guys did a great job. Thank you so much for that.
And
Ken and Ken.
Ken.
Thank you. Ken and Ken. The two Kens. Who helped with the ordinances and stuff. So, I will first make a motion to approve the draft ordinance and the application form for the veterans with service-connected total disability tax exemption, chapter 42, article 5.
Diane, you might want to, instead of having a motion to approve it, because
Well,
obviously
then we'll have to do a public hearing.
it might be better to just schedule the public hearing on the existing draft, so there's no ambiguity in the minutes as to what action is actually taken.
Okay, then I can go directly to the public
Yeah,
hearing.
you can just
Okay.
put it over to schedule.
I'll
the public
change that
hearing.
totally. I'll forget that other thing. I'll approve to go to public hearing for the proposed amendments to chapter 42, article 5, veterans with service-connected total disability tax exemptions, and also the application. Second?
I'll second, but can I ask a question before we vote?
Sure.
Of Ms. Carey. Carey, tell everyone exactly what is that going to do?
This will establish a 5,000 off the assessed value tax exemption for veterans that are 100% service-connected disabled.
Okay.
5,000 off the assessed value equals around $60 off the bill currently.
About
It's based on the
$6
tax. 60 with a zero, but.
If the town needs the money that bad, I want it to them. This is really embarrassing. As a 100% disabled veteran, this is way embarrassing. I know you think you guys are.
We need to move on, please.
Yeah, this is-
You know, we need to, there's no discussion here.
That's what this will do, if it's approved in September, and
And they will also have 5,000 on top of that, 5,000 for being a veteran.
Yes, this will be an
And
addition.
elderly, there's another 5,000.
$100.
Yes.
It's also the maximum that's authorized.
Well, it's the purpose of a public hearing as well, I would think.
We're going to a public hearing.
No, but my point is to Mr. Lyle, come to the public hearing and speak to that. Maybe we can do something better. That's all, I'm sorry. Sorry,
We have
Gary.
a motion and a
Sorry,
second
Marie.
to go to a public hearing. Any other comments from the council? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
One abstention.
Okay, Department of Public Works, D, award of bid, engineering, design, consulting, and planning for public works projects on call services. Rob?
Yes, good evening. So, yeah, my recommendation is to,
You got a recommendation?
yeah, so all 5 firms that applied answered our RFQ. We can make our pool to select from.
I can't hear you. Can you come up, please?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I have a.
Do you have this, Ray?
I can't find
I sent it.
No, go right ahead.
Okay,
Go
so
right ahead.
five companies, engineering firms, answered our request for qualifications.
Yeah.
They're all top shelf, unbelievable. That's what took us an extra month to look through them, and they're phenomenal companies, and it would be a great pool of engineers to pick from. And it's a 5-year pool that we can select from. So I recommend all 5. engineering firms.
So I should make a motion then for all 5 firms?
Yeah.
Do you have that, Cal?
Well,
Do you have
I,
that paper?
no, I saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. That's the one
There
I
you go.
saw. It's somewhere in
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
All right.
But what do you mean, I'm sorry, what do you mean all 5?
Well, it's a
So-
pool. In other words,
Yeah.
we get a project and we can present it to the pool. Instead of going out to every engineering firm from here to California.
Yeah, no, I
We could,
understand.
we put out a request for qualifications for certain things that we want done.
And you would-
Bridges, roads, pavement
Yeah, no, that's
preservations,
good.
and things that, we've been doing in the past and we need to do in the future. So these 5 answered my request for qualifications,
Okay.
and they're all phenomenal. And a lot of places have 5, 3
Right, right.
different people in that pool.
But I don't understand when you say we put it out for them to bid on?
Yeah, so now, they couldn't talk money.
It's not a
Thank
bid,
you.
it was, this is.
No,
determined
I know it's
from-
not a bid,
Right,
I'm
it's
asking,
Exactly.
what's the point? I mean, when you call it a pool and you have a project, do you submit the project specs to all of those?
I can.
Oh, but you decide what you think is the most appropriate.
They're on-call service.
Right, you'll see on the memo, there's the next steps. Now, the town did have a pre-qualified list.
Yes,
of engineers
before,
years ago.
long ago, right.
Right, so to get back to that, so there doesn't have to be an RFQ put out every single time. We talked about months ago of putting this together to have on a list for the town, right?
To
But
choose from.
with the town having a list, you also have to have an ordinance or a policy written to direct how Rob would use that list. So if you sort them out and put them in order, you just can't pick number 1 all the time.
Right.
And if you wanted to skip down to 4. So right now, I'm working on with Rob, either the ordinance or the policy that follows the state law, that follows the federal law. And we have to follow the federal law if we have any federal money coming in. So-
Okay, that's good.
Thank you for clarifying.
That makes sense, thank you. They all understand it, I'm the one that taught American history, I don't know any of this stuff.
So I am recommending all the 5 that answered the request for qualifications
Okay.
to be part of that pool,
All
to
right,
choose from in the future.
And the idea is you would pick the most qualified for any given project based on the.
That'll be in the rules and what we're gonna propose.
Wow, there you go.
Now, how do you manage that?
And then you have an
Especially
actual,
as it goes.
but the concept largely is that when you have a specific thing that needs to be done, you say, okay, well, who's the most qualified to do
To
this
do that,
specific
well,
thing?
that's-
Not just qualified, but it have things to do with time frame, not money at all, but time frame, their capabilities, if they've done it before, if they worked for the town on a special project, have they done this project somewhere else similar to the town project? There's all sorts of things that are gonna be written in the ordinance. So you're gonna hear five organizations
that you'll be able to tap into to get the best one for that specific project. Only that one project, and then you go back to the list.
Sounds very thorough, and very efficient.
Thanks, Kevin, the guidance with, you know, you helped me out with this big time.
All of you, but thanks.
Okay, so
Was there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion.
You have one already.
Oh, did we actually, all five of them?
What was the motion, Pat? Could you read it for
To
us?
accept the 5.
Oh, okay,
we
it's
recommended.
qualified.
Qualified, yeah.
Okay.
And second. Okay. Any more discussion?
Oh, there's a motion or something?
Why?
Um,
Sorry, that's my
Okay.
fault, right?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
You're up again, Rob.
Yep.
Department of Public Works awarding a bid for the 2027-2028 40K DW six-wheel dump truck.
So as at the financial town meeting, this was my request to go out for the equipment fund, to keep in line with my my strategy to keep a good force of trucks from under us. Right now, we've been maintaining a less than perfect group of trucks. We've got 2 coming in December. This one here would be it takes 1 year to build them. That's why you gotta it looks like I'm ordering a 3rd one. It's not about shiny paint, it's about sustainability. We did very well with the blizzard of 25, I guess you're gonna call that, for the rest of our lives. We'll hear about that, but we did very well with that, but we gotta keep on it. I believe we're due to get slammed again, so there'll be more coming on that front as far as I'm concerned. But my recommendation is to go with ATG's Advantage Truck Group's bid for the 2027 and 7-year warranty, which is another strategy of mine with all these emission systems, and they can just put a number on how much it costs to fix it. So just build them with that warranty in mind and trade them in pretty close to when that warranty is out. We do not have a tech on hand, and we don't want to have to pay that kind of money for a tech to be on the staff. So right now, my mechanics, if you will, do general maintenance, oil changes, greasing, cleaning, any little mirror replacements, all that stuff. But when it comes to getting inside that engine and that computer, the dealerships will have to deal with that.
So we could do a warranty.
Do you-
Yeah. That's why you have the warranty.
Yes, sir. I think there's a question out here, Madam President.
Yes?
I have a question about the maintenance of the trucks. Does the town fluid film the frames in the trucks each year?
We do a step out of that. We've done wax all. Right now, we're moving to rocket, which is what they're all doing. It's that bed liner stuff that you put on your bed liner. And so the wax all makes a mess. Fluid film is the old way. You put a bunch of that, you drive down a dirt road, and it works. It does, but we're doing new and improved and better, long-lasting stuff. But undercarriage maintenance is a huge thing. A couple of years ago, we bought a power washer with a cleaning system that blows underneath. So that's part of it. After an event, you don't see us, we're cleaning the equipment.
Right, thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much. I'll make a motion then to give the bid to Advantage Truck Group for the 2027-2028 6-wheel plow sanding dump truck.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Exeter Public Library, awarding a bid public restroom upgrade. Ken, did you?
Tan here?
See Ken?
I don't see Tian.
No.
I don't see.
Well, so there was a letter sent in today, from the end, and we did have no, was the letter distributed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, over two.
So, as you know, this was the second round of the bids, because the first round came way over than what the money that was available through the grant. So four bids came in, excuse me, and, the committee met on Friday night and decided that the Red Oak Remodel Incorporated on, Whitley Hollow Road in Coventry was the best fit for the project, and they came in, $26,560. And actually, we have 26,000, maybe a little more, the board will pick up the rest of the money on that, so, they're ready to go. Tian talked to them today. They know about the time frame. It has to be completed by October. It's the last part of the federal funding for the ARPA community centers money that we didn't take. So, this needs an approval from the council.
Okay, then I'll make a motion for the bid for the Exeter Public Library public restrooms to go to Red Oak Remodeling for $26,560.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? G, Town Sergeant, request for additional compensation, detail work for the Rhode Island State Police. We had talked about this earlier, and we were told we needed to do it in open session. So, I don't have the original paperwork, I don't know what it was. But I'll make a motion to give the town sergeant the additional compensation detail work for the Rhode Island State Police. Do I have a second?
I'll second
Okay, and we also had mentioned we would try and see if the state would help us out, because it's usually when the state doesn't show up and then he has to be there and replace state workers. So we're gonna try and do that, just get someone like that. Anybody have anything else to say? No? All those in favor?
that.
Council meeting microphones. I have a microphone. Ken, did you have any?
I didn't put that.
I didn't put it on there. We got them. Thank you.
I think it's
I don't know.
a good thing. I don't,
I thought there was something.
I don't remember saying it, but I know several people have said to me that it's been very hard for them to hear, so this may help.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Diane, you're rather soft-spoken, to say, so bellow it right out, Diane.
I, the Board of Campuses report integrity of Exeter elections.
I placed that on the
I think
agenda.
we're doing pretty good.
That's the one, and I'll tell you why. And I asked Nancy Anderson if she'd come, but I don't see her here. My concern stems from the fact that a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, the President of the United States questioned the integrity of elections across the board. I don't know if anybody else happened to see that, but I found it very discouraging, because there are people in every city and town, there are people here in Exeter that I am sure hang on those words, and those very same people might have a question about how things are going here, and is there any reason for the integrity of our elections to be questioned? And I was hoping that Nancy or someone from the board, don't interrupt, or someone from the board could speak to that. And because I think people need to hear. And if somebody should say, Ted, don't say, if somebody should say, well, no, don't do well, say, tell us.
I think, first of all, you have no right in putting Board of Canvassers on the agenda without contacting us. It is we are a nonpartisan group. We do not work for the town of Exeter. That's been told by the solicitor, can confirm that. And I have no comments, and you have no right to do that.
Well, there you go. And by the way, we pay your salary,
But
so you
then
may
do
not have to
something.
answer.
Then no, I don't have to answer to you.
No, I realize that. Well, everybody should know that the Board of Canvassers does not choose to answer to any concerns that the
No,
council may
no,
have.
I did not put it on the board. We did not put it on there. So you're calling us out. That's what
I'm
you're
not-
doing. Well, I'll tell you what, Calvin, why don't we get a hold of the Board of Elections and show them what you put on there, and then turn around and try to insult us because we said we didn't have to answer the question. Why don't you go to the board? Why
That
don't you
was not
stand up
an
for
insult.
yourself?
Why don't you listen to what I say?
I heard what you said.
Apparently not. I don't know if the rest of you
Above a
understood.
question?
Ma'am, he put
No.
By law.
on the
It's all right.
Board of
No.
Canvassers. And then he puts down here, he's gonna make a report. And what does he do? He says on here,
That's all.
Board
I
of
just
Canvassers,
wanted to.
integrity of Exeter elections. We were never asked to do that. No one asked us to come here and do that, to prepare a
Did you
statement.
reach out to
to tell the
Mrs.
people-
Anderton?
Nancy, but I did after I put it on. I wanted her to understand why it was there.
So you weren't able to give him, give an explanation as to why it's on?
I did tell her, and I asked her
You
if
told
she
her
could come.
after you posted it.
I asked her if she could come tonight to speak to it, to assure everyone that everything is being done the way it needs to be done. That was my intent. And I think the people in this town ought to know, because we don't hear anything from the BOC. But I am glad to know that we're gonna move into the new building for early voting. Good for you. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that either.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
That was
Don't,
at the
I'm not
beginning.
sorry, by the way, not at all.
Okay, moving on to J, request for reimbursement for the surety bond, cistern, Barnview Estates, 140 Rhode. I think Susan Hawksley and Bill and everyone, is everyone all satisfied with everything with the bond? Have they done everything they're supposed to? Or-
We got a good report.
Madam Chairman, yes, I can speak for that. The cistern was inspected, and the first time it was inspected, they needed actually a replacement part. The part was replaced, and we did receive a sign-off, and all that verbiage is actually in that package. So we support the return of the surety.
Oh, great, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the payment and the request for reimbursement for the surety bonds, cistern, Barnview Estates. And second,
I'll second that.
okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. And then request, okay, Department of Public Works Transfer Station hauling contract. Option to renew 4-year and fee would be full increases 8/1/26 and year 4. Wow.
Yeah, you don't, it's year 3 is ending and we're going into the options to extend. My recommendation is to extend to year 4 with the current hauler. It's flawless service, as it's been for over 23 years. So that's the first piece of that. And they are asking for a 7% fuel surcharge to finish out this 3-year period And they're also looking for a 7% fuel surcharge going into the fourth year that I'm recommending that we do. So hope I'm presenting that correctly.
We bet.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah, it would be year
It's like
four.
$18.
Yeah.
It's small.
$275 in year 5, 280.
Right. And so they wanted to put 7% on top of both those.
I think that was, oh, okay, yeah, okay.
3 and 4, yeah, 3 and 4.
Did I understand you wanted to back off on 5 and just?
Well, I figured, let's see where the fuel ends up and maybe
Right.
come back
Maybe
off
it'll
of
come
that.
back down.
So let's take a look at it.
Let's do 4 right now.
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not your recommendation.
Yeah, it is.
Year 4 and an increase of 5. I do know diesel, and it doesn't make any sense at all, because diesel is cheaper to make. Why it is so much more expensive than regular gas.
Demand.
He's correct.
Is it, the reason why diesel fuel is so expensive, less people use diesel fuel than gasoline. Gasoline, granted, it takes more to process it, but it's more used.
Trucks
So-
that burn diesel, 5 miles to the gallon, where you get your cars nowadays that are 30 and 40 miles to the gallon. So that's why there's probably
Supply.
more demand, right?
Rob, the contract with them, just so for anyone who doesn't know, specifically says that they have the ability to ask for
It does.
a fee.
And that was in my communication, that it activated once it went over that. It's actually 50-something% over. So they've taken the hit for us for quite some time. I think it's time that we show that we're a team player and show up for them.
Okay, I will make a motion then to accept the 7% increase for this year. And for year 4, the 275 per haul plus the 7% increase for year 4, 25.
Second.
25 cents. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. I didn't say thank you, Ted.
Okay, the planners report, recently proposed zoning ordinances amendments.
I did add that, and sorry, Bill, I didn't ask you if I could. But I have something that I wanted to say about your memo of July 13th. And that's why I put this item on the agenda. And it's a page and a half long. And I'm not gonna, I won't read it all, I'll just read you highlights that are identified by dark letters, what you want to say, it's highlighted. The process surrounding the current draft ordinance was largely driven by a rigid statutory deadline. That's because we had a 60-day, we'll speak about that in a minute, but it had to be done, I hate to say hastily, but we, the council, charged the planner with going at that ordinance in areas that we thought would speak to concerns raised, well, by his office because of talk he hears. And so he picked the 3 items, you know what I'm talking about. Situation has been, well, at the end he says when many perceive the proposal as removing existing rights rather than advancing its intended purpose, which was protecting the character, health, safety, and welfare of Exeter's residential neighborhoods. I'm skipping the whole paragraph. Further complicated by the necessity to address, the situation has been complicated by the necessity to address long-standing commercial operations that have functioned for many years without securing the requisite special use permits. This matter pertains to enforcement rather than planning. Sound planning practice requires a comprehensive evaluation of the zoning table and related regulations, rather than focusing on the circumstances of any single property or individual use. He goes on later to say about the good parts of what we went through, and specifically the horrendous situation at Wauwau School. By the way, don't forget, I think it's been said many times, our town clerk did attempt to get the high school auditorium, and it was not available. So that's why we ended up where we were. Among the more significant improvements are expanded flexibility for home-based businesses, clearer definitions of commercial uses and activities, improved organizations of use regulations, and greater clarity regarding where various uses are appropriate. And that last part is where clearly the sticking point came, which Bill is prepared to address here. It's also important to recognize that municipalities throughout Rhode Island and across the country routinely prohibit or regulate land uses that are incompatible with residential neighborhoods. He goes on, and without safeguards, the town risks greater regulatory gaps that could allow uses inconsistent with the rural character and residential nature of Exeter's neighborhoods. Which, keep in mind, that's what keeps ringing out of the comprehensive plan document, that's what people seem to want to protect. I'm not sure that's all across the town, but that seems to be a response that's repeated often. There's also, this is just almost done, there's insufficient evidence in the record to determine whether commercial wood processing should be considered an inherent rural use within Exeter, or whether it is a commercial activity that warrants additional regulation. That's a question that surfaced through this process. And to end, he concludes with, at present, there appears to be considerable misunderstanding regarding the objectives of the ordinance, regardless of whether those perceptions accurately reflect its actual provisions. A focused amendment process would provide greater transparency, improve public confidence, ultimately result in stronger and more defensible land use regulations. At the time I asked Pat to add this to the agenda, I did not know that we were going to get a very comprehensive follow-up memo, which I hope Bill will address. I see that he's here, and I hope he will, because I think it's a masterful job of how we can move forward and make good use of the work that's already done. Thank you. I just think that the public needed to hear that.
I thought we moved too fast and didn't give up enough time in a short amount of time, and I felt sorry for Bill that he had to do all his work in a very constricted time. I thought it should have been spread out. We didn't do the comprehensive plan. It took us years to do that.
Of course.
And we had hired someone to help. Bill, for 10 years before that, we had another town planner who was paid and never did anything. And Bill, the second he got here, started working on that. And we had a great group led by Bob Correa, taxpayers, that helped with that. And then you wanted to make all these changes quickly in 60 days. It was impossible, an impossible task. It was going to take years to do this. And Bill does have a plan, which is on the agenda next. For splitting
I
it up
think at the
into smaller
time,
groups.
sorry, let me just say at the time, I don't think any of the three of us realized how extensive those changes would have to be. I don't think any of us
I
did.
did.
But thank you, Diane. To Bill's credit, he tried, and he did a Herculean effort. but it got lost in the process.
Madam Chair, may I? It appears that Bill has done monumental work on this.
Yeah.
But it also appears that if we are left bare without making the appropriate changes, we will lay ourselves open to all sorts of bad things.
Well, that's why we are going.
But if you wait a year to do it, a year is too long.
Well, we're going to see, we're going to take it in bits and pieces. And Bill has, we'll get to that next on the agenda. We do have the M, which is the planner's memo dated 7/29, recommended approach for review of proposed commercial and residential zoning ordinance amendments. And we do have a couple of pages where it's all split up, each 4 basic sections, and then they are split up in smaller sections so that we can go forward with that. Bill, did you want to speak to that at all?
Sure, again, William D. Pasquale, Town Planner. Thank you very much and for all the kind words. Thank you for the public for, working with us on this. In reference to my July 13th memo, in government, you always have to look at what you portend to do, understand what the public and elected officials are saying, and reassess the process. What we found there is that I think everyone's trying to do the right thing. We're trying to protect our neighborhoods. We're trying to protect the health, safety of all the Exeter's residents. I firmly believe that the draft provides some really important advantages to the public. We talked about home-based operations. Lost in this is that every homeowner was gonna get 600 square feet within their house, within their barn, within their shed, to do home-based businesses that make Exeter Exeter. Within this, we talked about gross vehicle weight that went up from 20,000 to 26,000 because we heard it from the community. There are some advantages to the content. However, without consensus, without a process, and without working with the public and elected officials, it's impossible to get to a consensus. So, looked at what we have. What I heard from the public was that the format that we chose, which is a modern zoning, right? We get criticized that we have this zoning from 1964. We have telephone booths in our zoning. Anyone know what a telephone booth is? I do.
Superman used it.
That's right, but it just goes to show you that the ordinance is that old. And so what the new format did was bring it into the modern day, bring uses within categories, like every other town. But I think that was interpreted as being policy. It's not policy, it was contextual format. But I understand it. You go from whatever was, submitted at the workshop hearing to something that looks like it's 46 pages when it really is substantively the same, but in a different format. The format chosen by our zoning consultant was a very good one. It separated accessory uses from principal uses. So if someone wanted to do an accessory use, they'd go to one table. Can I put a chicken coop in? Can I put my she shed there? And you go to one table and it tells you if you can do it. You know what was in that table too? Everyone can cut wood, right? Everyone can, cut wood for themselves. They can sell wood up to the cord. That was in there. But if the process is not done or it's hurried, then things get lost. And so we have to look at doing a better job. So on my July 29, we're like, okay, where do we go from here? How do we get there? And probably the easiest thing to do is break this thing up into 4 sections. The wood processing, which is by far the most controversial, part of the reason is defining what the commercial operation versus some of our smaller operations is difficult. But we do have a Superior Court decision that clearly says it's unambiguous to say CR5 is not residential, so we have some clarity there. We have some clarity on some DEM interpretation of what commercial development is. So there is some opportunity there, working with everyone to see whether or not we can get a middle ground. The second section, which is home occupation, that I think is a win for everyone. That's where we say everyone can have 600 square feet to do what they want in terms of home occupation within their property, something that we didn't have in that form prior to that. The next one is home daycare. It's very small. It's regulated by the state, probably 2 lines at best, right? So now we're talking about something that is very easy. The next one is prohibited uses. Drive down North Kingston. I took pictures. Save our town. Signs everywhere in North Kingston. No sludge burning facility. Can we agree that that's something that we should have? Everyone hears about data centers. And in residential, I'm not talking about business or light industrial, only in residential, right? There's a town just, right next to us, trying to do things after the fact. We need to be proactive here. We can't stick our head in the sand and say it's not gonna come to us. It's coming to us, right? So maybe not the long prohibited list we have, maybe that's too much. Be the first to admit it. Can we cull it down to 4 or 5 things that really the town does not want? You want an incinerator, you want a medical waste incinerator that West Warwick had. That East Greenwich and West Warwick had a fight to keep up. I think we can come to consensus as a community without jumping to, we're trying to take rights away. There's nothing about that. It's about preserving everyone's #1 asset, or most people's #1 asset. That's their residential home and their residentially zoned property. Can we do a better job? Absolutely. And so the attempt is maybe break it up into 4 pieces, manageable pieces, and now it's up to the town. Maybe we use our old format. If everyone's so, maybe concerned that the new format is a little too much, maybe we change the existing, plug into the existing zoning so it's easier to take one section at a time, go out to public hearing, public notice on one element, so that everything is not combined. Just options. I don't know what else to do. I tried to do as much as I could. I'm actually looking for direction by the honorable body that these folks elected to give me some direction on how I go. I have 2 draft items for my workshop. One is to look at the existing zoning use table. There are some errors in there. There's an error in there about groundwater overlay. I've heard all about it. It's an error. It's an error. It's wrong. It was never a no. It was always a yes. There's a transcription error. That should be changed. Should be changed yesterday. On the new format, there were a lot of blanks because we added a bunch of categories. We either go back and fill those in, or we go back to the old ordinance and we just amend the old ordinance. What I'm gonna do is I will go ahead with the planning board next week to stop trying to fill in Karen Ellsworth's version of the ordinance table. That doesn't mean that this body has to use that one. And I'll also just plug in some of the changes to the existing ordinance. Now I'll leave it up to the town to decide which one is more palatable. The other 2, the prohibitions, I can reduce to maybe 5, 6 items that I think everyone can agree with. And then we can, take it from there. Now, wood processing, I said it in my June 16th. This is what I wrote. There is, for me at this point, in my body, the planning board, there is insufficient evidence in the record to determine whether commercial wood processing should be considered an inherent rural use within Exeter, or whether it's a commercial activity that warrants additional regulation. I had 3 phases. 1, freebie for everyone. 2 was the same thing that's been in here since 1995, special use permit. No one got a special use permit. We'll just be honest. There was very few people that got a special use permit. The 3rd was commercial. The 3rd was commercial, and it was apparent commercial. It walks like a duck, it's a duck. We had a bunch of criteria, there's a commercial. We have a Superior Court decision saying CR5 is residential. We have a DEM violation on a property that considers that type of activity industrial. So you're not far-fetched. That doesn't mean it's not right for your community. If you don't think that that's right for your community, you can allow everything and just limit the commercial to a special use permit. Only you folks can decide. And you have to give me direction on that last one. That's the best I can do.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Do so.
If anyone would like copies of the breakdown, we can do that for you, the public. Anyone would like copies, just call town hall.
I think Bill's covered it pretty well, and that is the problem in delaying, is we will inherit from other towns what they don't want. And if you fail to act and wait a year, it's gonna come at us fast and furious.
Amen.
Well, we're gonna try and do it within the year.
Gotta be done before that.
It does not restrict the town from making a change on that one thing, or two things. You don't have to change everything to change whether or not you're gonna have an incinerator. They can vote on that separately, right away. So it doesn't mean that's changed.
You haven't changed
to
your
overall
laws
switch
enough,
for-
good lord.
We're done.
This is not public
We're done.
comment.
You allow them to talk,
We're gonna move
not
on.
answer.
We gotta move on.
Do you wanna make a recommendation on which way you wanna move forward with it?
Okay, I would like to make a recommendation that we decide which part of this we want to move on first. I mean, really, there's very little in home daycare. It was just a couple of lines anyway. We could schedule a workshop for that. And maybe another workshop for the home occupations, because that was really very good for the town, allowing people to, who are artisans, to have space to do things and other people. And then, I think wood processing is gonna take a little longer. Because we're gonna have to break that down, this section.
We'll
So I don't know,
have the work sessions with the
Whatever.
planning board as recommended.
with the
Yes.
planning board. Yep, and the public, and advertise.
Do you want to plan to have them here or at the high school? Some of these,
Some of
obviously
these,
going to be very well
yeah.
attended, others probably less so.
Daycare, I don't think a lot of people are gonna come to that. I would say wood processing. they
And
would
special
come to.
use needs to be at the high school.
Special, wood processing definitely would have to be at the high school. I don't know about home occupation and that stuff. Maybe that.
One thing to consider with it is you are going to have the council plus the entire planning board. It's going to take up a good bit of space in the
Right.
room, just the people that are on this side of the table. So bear that in mind.
Yeah. So I think we have to work with the planning board to figure out a schedule when they can do it.
So would this be like the way we had the comp plan? We had folks from the public, some people from some rep from the council or liaison from the council. And we have the public and they involved and just like.
Yeah, so that the public.
So we have a set people or we just invite everybody
I
out?
think we start out by inviting people to see
Everybody.
how interested they are in certain things. Because somebody might be totally involved in the home care thing and they don't want anything to do with wood.
Mhm.
Some people might be, I think, wood processing and the prohibited stuff definitely will be big, heavily affected.
May I speak? My thought is, and Bill has just suggested that he wants to begin working with the planning board, unless I misunderstood,
No, he
Bill, to try to develop a different approach that you can, not a different, but something you can bring to us to suggest how we might proceed. And maybe I misunderstood you, I'd love to leave it personally to Bill and the planning board to try to react to what happened and try to approach it in a different way.
Chairwoman?
Yes, please.
I would normally agree with that, but the planning board did review this. And while I'll bring back it to the planning board for items that maybe were brought up in the public hearing that require their review, in particular, when Karen drafted her new table, she had all these blanks, and it says if something's blank, it says no. That's gotta go to the planning board for a recommendation.
Right.
But I think it's incumbent that both the town council and planning board have a joint hearing with the public on wood processing should be separate, the prohibited should be separate, and you could combine home occupations and home daycare, which is virtually nothing. Everyone's gonna, unless they want more, home ed. That's kind of the only way you're gonna be able to address the public in terms of how they feel about the proposal and any changes to that in terms of how it would affect their business. Whether it's a prohibited use, for instance, in a prohibited use, I heard people have containers, these big Conex containers in their backyard, and maybe they want to keep them. So maybe you talk about how that is done, if there's setbacks on the prohibited uses. Maybe you remove it and just keep the most overt prohibited uses.
Right.
That on itself. But I truly believe it should be the town council and the planning board if you're going to do it. If you're not gonna do that, then we can scrap the whole thing, we can go through these many things with the planning board. I can give you an alternative to each section, and then you can go forward with that. I'll really do what the town wants me to do, and I could do both. I mean, I could scrap this whole thing, I could take the objectives of most of these and plug them in, and then have a whole new ordinance, but it won't be for a little while. So I'm trying to understand where the town wants to be in terms of timing on all these elements.
Well, I would like to start with daycare. And if we could, do you think we could actually put the daycare and
And home occupation.
occupation together?
Yes.
One thing?
I do.
Start with that, but figure out a time that's good for the planning board, the town. I think we have to have the public, the planning board, and the town council together.
Not to mess up everything, but process is process, we can't change that. If we are to change things, we're also, if the moratorium stays on the commercial part, then wood processing is going to have to conform with that timeline. And not only for the workshops, but that's gonna be readdressed in terms of public notice. Maybe legal counsel disagrees with me, but there may be changes to public notice that you have to re-advertise for a public hearing if you're going to break them up into those 4 subsets.
Yeah, I would expect that the public notice for the meetings that are being described are gonna be completely different than what's been advertised so far.
I tend to say I agree with you.
We're basically starting the entire public hearing process completely over from
I agree with
scratch
that.
at this point.
So when we think about that, right, so we're under the moratorium, whatever that day is, I don't know if it's 30 or 90, do we know if it's 30 or 90 or 60?
60.
I think they
It's 60. You have to back out of that to have a public hearing prior to that. So that would necessitate this group meeting, kind of come to an agreement well before that, and then publicize it in the paper for what, 3 weeks? 3 straight weeks? So back it out, that is the timeline on that particular. I mean, these are decisions, these are real decisions we have to make. I don't think we can kick it down anymore. We've had a lot of meetings. And we as a community have to make a decision. It's not the end of the world. I can work either way. I'm not gonna stop working on it, but if the deadline is driven by the moratorium, that's gonna necessitate a different approach. That's all I'm saying.
It doesn't sound like there's any need to vote on anything tonight. It sounds like Bill's gonna do some stuff with the planning board.
Okay.
Get that right?
Yeah, I said they want to continue.
I wanna double check that thing.
Can I have something to say?
Yeah, just.
At the meeting, I think I misunderstood something. What I thought was gonna happen, that there was gonna be a workshop set up that was gonna consist of Bill, Kenny, a person from the town council, and somebody from the wood cutting or the daycare to represent. That was discussed, I'm sure of that. And I thought that was what was accepted. I'm just
No,
asking.
it was the planning board, the town council, Bill, and the public. Okay, let's move. I think we have to do that next thing so that we can get Bill. Emergency ordinance and emergency ordinance imposing temporary moratorium on commercial development and residential areas to ensure a deliberative, collaborative, and well-informed public process before the consideration of potential adoption of relating zoning amendments.
So I believe, the idea here is for Bill to start those workshops, while this moratorium is underway. So the home occupation, the home use, home daycare, and then moving into, the wood processing and prohibited uses as well. And throughout that time, the time frame, whether it be 60 days, 90 days, Bill, how long do you think you'll need to conduct the workshops?
Again, I think the draft is already written, so the scheduling and the workshops are gonna be one thing. The second thing will there be amendments to it? If there are amendments to that, then we have to re-advertise. So the schedule is really not only the co-meetings with the workshop, redrafting it, and more importantly, putting out to a public notice. And the public notice is 3 weeks back from there. So therein lies the issue with the moratorium. You'd almost have to start the wood cutting today, schedule it with the body. I don't schedule both bodies, but we can do that. Have a public hearing, a public workshop, hope that you get some kind of consensus, turn that into another document, have that document now publicized and advertised, then have a public hearing, all within 60 days?
Yes, 60
Yeah.
days.
And we're.
I don't see that timeline, I'm just being
I don't
realistic.
Yeah.
see it. Can we get rid of the moratorium? I'll make a motion to repeal the emergency moratorium in place at the present time.
Second for discussion.
I just think if we're not under that constraint, that we have more time to work on this, and I think this restrains us. We can't possibly do this in 60 days. We've already lost 30.
Yeah.
Can I ask
But
Bill,
it's 30
please?
days. He said we can't do it, it's impossible.
Well, maybe not all, can we work
can't
on
split
wood,
it up
see?
like we want to, if there's a much time.
Well, Diane, see, you and I have a different opinion. I think we should start with the wood issue, because that was the most controversial. That's what brought people out, and I think we need to address that as soon as we can, so it doesn't look like we're pushing it aside. I think we need to begin there, but Diane and I disagree over that, so
Make a
we'll
motion.
see how. Well, there's a motion on the floor right now, but the motion is to repeal and not continue the moratorium, because, I understand what you're saying, there's no way we can get the whole thing done, but maybe we could
If
get,
you keep rushing everything, if you keep doing that, you make mistakes,
okay,
and it's not enough time to split it up. It's just impossible.
and Bill, you Would you have any thoughts? Do you think it's?
Well, I think I was pretty expressive in my thoughts. I mean, anything can be done. You have 60 days in front of you, back out, even if you started that first, with a couple of meetings with the whole town council and planning board, and hope you come to a resolution, you know, with the woodcutters, bring out 3 weeks from that, because that's when it has to get in. It's just mathematics at that point. You know, it's just scheduling. Can it be done? Sure. If you had an executive session, meetings, 2 days in a row, and hope you got consensus from the community, because we are assuming that consensus might come at one of these meetings.
Right, and we haven't heard from everyone.
We haven't heard from the woodcutters, other than that one meeting, and I think there were a bunch of people that kind of wanted to talk about it.
Just
So
wanted to speak.
it's just being realistic about, can you do it? Yes. You know, the council can schedule meetings all next week, all about woodcutting. Council, planning board, and meet as many days as it takes with the woodcutters. Then you could get it in, rewrite it, and put it in. I mean, that's how you do it if you really wanted to do it.
That's all right, thank you, Bill.
Any other comments? Okay, I'll take a vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you.
Opposed?
3 to 2?
Yep.
So you just looked at the moratorium, correct?
Yep.
Thank God.
Now
Can we go back to the other item? To direct Bill, because he wants some direction from us. I mean, we didn't take a vote or anything, and he's asking for direction.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill,
I-
what do you want?
If I'm understanding, you rescinded the moratorium.
Yep, so you got
I can still, it's up to, you know, obviously the honorable town council, we can still have these meetings together between the town council and planning board,
Yes.
and still, you know, do the selected without the time frame that's afforded. Now, I will say that activities could be permitted in that period of time that maybe is not the best for the town. But we can do that with those joint meetings, and then you'd be able to also, you know, present something over a period of time that would look like 3 different sections.
Right.
One would be the combined home occupation, daycare, the second would be prohibited uses, and the third would be, obviously, wood processing. And that would be perspective after that point. There'd be a host of activities that would most likely be allowed.
Your meeting was planning board.
I have a workshop next week, and I'll begin that process of trying to give this body, the co-body, a recommendation on other things like the land use table. But really, I think the process with the council is gonna be still on the wood processors, since it seems to be the most controversial.
So would we be able, if you could arrange with them? when it's
I
time
think
for us
using
to
with the
all
town
meet?
administrator, you know, we have to have the planning board, town council agree on a schedule, and then we could have a workshop
We'll
at the
have
school or
Ken
something.
work with you. And
You probably have to get to school, just
and
because of
probably
the sheer
get to
number of
school,
people.
yeah.
Just sheer number of people, you're gonna have 2 bodies together, we have to advertise them as a joint meeting together.
Right.
Which begs the question, not bring anything else up, but if there are additional things that the town council wants, you should put them on the list. If you're gonna go through this
And give
exercise,
them to Ken, so
you know,
only one
put 'em on the
person is
list.
talking.
Start with the wood processing.
Okay,
That's
all
the
right,
big one. I'll work with Bill.
okay.
You'll get their schedule, I'll get
Don't
yours.
start with it.
And then
There's
you
too
got
much
high
of a
school.
fight coming up.
We'll start with what?
Do you really wanna?
Okay, moving on, I put this on the agenda, a resolution, this was affordable housing. Way back months ago, we did do a resolution. At that time, I agreed not to put in anything about legal helping. And this was basically opposing all of the low and moderate income that the state has passed. And it was good, but now I'm just tired of the state, I guess. And what they're doing to our town, what they're doing to rural communities. And so I would like us to use the original one and add to it all of the legal, sharing legal expenses. And I wanted to thank Frank DiGregorio, because we do have ways of legally doing that. And instead of one town going after it, we have a dozen towns together, working together. Maybe we can do something as the state to change some of this, because I'm afraid for our water.
You need to put the microphone towards you.
Oh, I'm afraid for our water, I'm afraid for our traffic, I'm afraid that we're not going to be rural anymore. We have 5 new projects here. And just so you know, that there are legal things, and Frank did write one of them, the most important one, I think. And so I was just going to read part of his letter, which is part of the legal thing, that and certain things that we have some more rights as a town. And this is section 4, power of the General Assembly over cities and towns. The General Assembly shall have the power to act in relationship to the property, affairs, and governments of any city or town by general laws, which shall apply alike to all cities and towns, but which shall not affect the form of government of any city or town. The General Assembly shall also have the power to act in relationship to the property, affairs, and government of a particular city or town, provided that such legislative action shall become effective only upon approval, and this is the important part, by a majority of the qualified electors of the said city or town voting at a general or special election, except that in these case of acts involving the imposition of a tax or the expenditure of money by a town, the same shall provide for the submission thereof to those electors in said town qualified to vote upon a proposed proposition to impose a tax for the expenditure of money. I apologize, my eyes are just not looking too good tonight. As stated in section 4, the General Assembly shall also have the power to act in relation to the property, affairs of the government of a particular city or town, provided that such legislation action shall become effective only upon approval by a majority of the qualified electors of the said city or town voting at a general or special election, which of course none of us were afforded that opportunity or that way. So all of these laws that they made for LMI housing should have come to the electors of the cities and towns and not just rammed down our throats, which is what has happened.
Amen.
Right. Well, I agree with you.
So I think we need to stand together and adopt the whole resolution, which did make us part of that group. I think we have 12 cities or towns now.
14.
Might be more 14 now, that are all part of this. And I think we have to be a part of that too, because it's ridiculous, and they're gonna destroy this town. They're gonna destroy our water,
That's right.
first and foremost, and destroy the town. It won't be a rural town anymore.
That's right.
Can I interrupt? Can I just take a break?
Sure.
I'll be right back. I drink a lot of water during the day. Sorry.
Oh, we all understand.
Do, Mark.
I understand, I understand.
Excuse me, can I make a comment on that? I'm gonna take a break. You probably, everyone's probably heard of this group called Our Town, Our Vision. And that's, they're passing out signs. And the sign says Our Town, Our Vision.
I have a sign out already.
All right. This is not the state's decision, basically, is what it says. And that was started by a lady in Portsmouth, by a name of Karen
I can't pronounce Karen's
Gleason.
last name.
And she's the one that got the town council to vote that way. And from there, moved from Portsmouth to Tiverton. And then from Tiverton to other state, towns. A few days ago, there were 14. They anticipated that with Exeter it'd be 17. I don't know what's happened in the last 72 hours. But basically what they're trying to do is to get the word out in a strictly nonpartisan way. And they're very, very strong in this. Right now in southern Rhode Island, it's being headed up by a lady named Deborah DeCoste, I believe it is, in West Greenwich. And Becky Blaine, who lives in South Kingstown. And they're handling the signs. They're gonna create their own signs, a little change now, but it's gonna say the same thing. I'm working with them on trying to come up with a way to take care of that. In any event, their idea is that this is going, they're going to be identified as an anti-Chiraka laws. Chiraka was the author of these laws that we're getting now, who was, beforehand was the Speaker of the House. He's also up to be a judgeship in the Supreme Court, decided by the governor. So, the theory is that if they pick on enough towns, they're picking on a number of them heavily, it will eventually bankrupt those towns with the children going to the schools and the extra problems that were created. And then the state will take over those towns directly. It won't be home rule anymore. They're dedicated to following this all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to stop this, these people.
Should we wait for Ray or continue? I have thoughts about this, but
I think I need to do a well-being check on them.
Diane, let me, so I put it on hold. Did you all see the Tiverton resolution? I didn't.
Greg,
That's,
Yeah.
that's the one, got it?
Yeah.
That's the one I'm
That's what
talking
we're talking about.
Well, is that what you have?
Okay.
But that's not, but you spoke about what we did previously.
Yeah, we changed.
Oh, I know exactly what we
We
did,
blacked out.
Diane.
It's
I
the
know.
same thing, except.
Okay, well, that's what I wasn't sure of, but this makes excellent points.
This
That-
is the same thing.
Is it the same essence?
A lot of it, yeah, a lot of
Okay.
it was.
I know that we
but
voted
I
not
added
to
more to it, so I wanted to-
Participate legally, but I think maybe the time has come. Is that what you
I think, yeah, the time has come to start acting. Establish.
Well, yeah, it was interesting language. You know what I thought when I, again, oh, he's over there. What I thought when I read Frank's letter, oh, hi. Okay, I tried to tried to hold it off, but now you're back. Let me just say, when I read Frank's letter, I was sorry that maybe we could have done it, but with the August deadline for a special, you know, a vote, what do you call it, special referendum items for Exeter, it's too bad we couldn't put that into a referendum question.
Well, this is the referendum.
I know, but my point is to let the voters vote so that we have the voter record of whether they approve what's been done. And I just feel badly that we don't have time to address that.
Well,
Because
this
it
will
could
be
be.
ready for when they go into session.
Yes, I understand that, Diane, but the gist of what you read is that it needs local voter approval. My point was that if you already tell them, we've addressed it in Exeter and we said no, or however we vote, then it's
Well,
not
we
correct.
didn't get the opportunity to vote.
No, I know we didn't get it, but I'm not saying why. Better late than never. It's all right, never mind, no worries, we'll move ahead. But I like that, if
We
that's the
wanted-
same one as Tiverton.
To show that the people are for it.
Or
Have a
not,
record.
if not,
Or
which
not.
I suspect, I think the vote would be no.
Yeah,
Yes.
just show, yeah.
Yes.
You know, Tiverton speaks to having 5 comp permits already in place. We have 4, last I understood. But it's big.
Well, we have to Exeterize.
Yeah.
No, I know that. That's not my point. My point is, they have 5, we have 4. Imagine the other South County communities, they're gonna be dealing with the same thing. So I think you make a valid point.
And we might have 17 towns.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that it was too bad that we couldn't have, but it's August, it's too late, really.
Have you all seen Westerly
Never
and
too
what they did at the Weekapaug Inn golf course down there? They were gonna put in something like 800 new units, I don't know.
there was a
And
loss.
all the
Westerly
rural
lost
areas are.
because the planning board was as strong as it was, as well.
And because they built, before this, they built a record.
Yep,
It's all about a record.
Yeah.
It's about water impact
Right.
and the
we
consultant
have wells.
coming to it.
Yeah.
they were well forearmed to be able to fight that.
That's right. But, you know, Johnston lost on their,
Yeah.
you know, attempt to do inverse condemnation on eminent domain. They lost in court. So,
So we need to get together,
yeah.
fight it. We just have to step up and start fighting, fight back.
So you'll give us something, we'll
Well,
get
I'm
something.
gonna make a motion to Exeterize
That's good.
the original town of Tiverton. Resolution.
Second,
And
that'll be
any more
placed,
discussion?
is that gonna go on the September agenda, or we'll just do it?
No, we're doing it right now.
Just do it.
Oh, yeah, it has to go on, so that we
Well-
vote it on in September.
If we direct it to be
It still has to
exercised, maybe it can just be,
If it, we have to,
that's all right, I was just checking for procedure, that's all.
yeah, okay, we've had a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
If you'd like, in the meantime, I can find out how much money we're going for the first, sorry, finishing up the.
Aye.
I don't
It's okay.
Thanks.
think they really.
Oh, not.
Do it, Home Depot.
No, they did ask all the communities to pitch in a certain amount of money.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how much it would be for anyone to do that, in that space.
It's important.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
You want a piece of candy? Yeah. That's all I can give you, or else I get in trouble.
That my reward?
Yeah, that's your reward, yeah. No.
I think I'm finished with this.
We'll go to unfinished business, the future town hall. Brandon?
Wednesday is our next presentation from the architect, to 95% plan completed, they said up to 95%. So we'll be choosing, not at the meeting, but they've already kind of picked out the way it's gonna look, and the design is, and the furniture, and the lighting, and whatever they wanna do.
Can we be quiet, please?
So,
Hey, Tom, Frank, we just keep,
Quiet, please.
so at Wednesday's meeting, we'll listen to what they get to say, and then I'll bring it back immediately to anybody that's interested in looking to see, and give their opinion on the style, and what's gonna be, they're recommending to have done. That'll be Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday morning's the meeting, hopefully I'll get everything out to everybody on Wednesday afternoon, with an explanation on what we have now to decide.
You should come back, you gotta come back and talk to the folks that are here and look at
Yeah.
this, you're gonna live in it, so they oughta.
Right.
Good.
Will we be ready for voting over there?
Yeah, what's gonna
Yeah,
happen?
so I also met with Nancy, to finalize the voting, Rob ordering a container, so we'll have a container to put all those chairs in and all the other furniture, get it cleaned, and we have the list of items that need to be done, between Rob, Nancy, and myself, to get the place open for the elections. So, right on target.
good, thank you.
Yeah, and also, we could even have, as much time as, they want it back in 2 weeks, about that, I think, was the architect, about what we decide, that we could actually have an open house down there to show people.
Oh, that
Yeah.
Ken, I was thinking, sorry, Ken, is there any way I'm just saying, the bathrooms, we know they have to be done, can they be done early or do they have to wait? I'm just thinking if people are gonna be in there
I
for the
don't
election.
think the bathrooms need to be done, to be cleaned. We're gonna clean the building.
Oh, okay, okay.
They recommended doing some work on the bathroom.
Well, as long as
But
it,
it was, like, I don't know if we really.
as
think
long
it's
as they're
necessary.
okay, people.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no, it'll be fine.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the bathrooms are-
I think it's the best part of the building.
Yeah, from what I can recall.
Okay, B was New Road and Penrod Road intersection, traffic safety issues.
What do you think?
Good evening again. So the New Road and Tenrod Road intersection, I'm pleased to say that the highway chief from Belleville and Hope Valley is setting up a meeting with me and the engineers and the permitting people to address this, see what I have so far with our survey, and to have the conversation about what can be done and what, you know, what I think should be done. So we're moving forward. As we all know, the gears of government turn very slowly, but surely it's
Yeah.
moving in the right direction. So I'm pleased about that. So I don't have the meeting yet, but he's getting me together. He's getting me there.
Can the paint, who has to do the stripe at the end of the,
That's me, that's my road.
no, I mean the yellow line.
Yeah, so that's New Road being mine, and
Yeah.
if we want it to go in, it would be, you know, I do have a line striping program that's scheduled for the end of my pavement preservation
Oh,
season, which we're in the middle of right now. I'm very busy with all that,
yeah.
prepping for the processes. We've already got a few
Yeah.
processes, but, so once they conclude, I'm planning on doing the same amount of line striping as I did last year, maybe a touch more.
So it is
I
something.
can have it done now, but it's only just that section, because I have
Right.
several areas done. So,
Would they fade away already?
huh?
They're already faded away?
Yeah, see, that's a whole nother thing too, because it's not on the agenda, but I can tell you more about that. There's different pricing on that. It only lasts a year, but it's 3 times the price for the stuff that lasts 3 years, but it wouldn't fade as much. So I
It's
might
not
go
like
with
an
the more
epoxy
expensive.
with that Glow stuff, they gotta do with the state.
the thicker stuff, where it's actually a film they put down instead of paint, but that's a whole nother conversation.
No,
But yeah,
well, but it's still New Road related, because,
I may do something a little more permanent in that
yeah,
intersection.
well, no, that's true, because
Yeah.
somebody said it doesn't
It
last.
doesn't last, so.
But I have a lady that lives down the road who keeps saying, there's no line, there's no line. I said, well, it's a work in progress.
It is, it really is.
I know,
I'm not
but
gonna
I-
get off it, but I can't get as
No,
aggressive as I
fine.
want to, because we don't own all the land.
Okay, no, I know, that's the issue.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, and C, oh, you again.
Rob's up.
Unfortunately, I have not got to get with Nancy on this food pantry. It's probably gonna have to be something that I put into the fall season when I'm past my favorite
Right.
preservation processes, because that's taking the majority of my attention right now, because I'm spending a lot of taxpayer money, and I wanna make sure it gets done properly, and we get what we're paying for, so, and I can't take my eyes off of that.
Yeah, and that's okay. We push this out for a while.
Once this gets set up, this should be long-term, and I'm all for it, it's just,
Do you want us to take it on for next month and maybe put it on
well, could you
October
do
or
that,
something?
revisit that, maybe
Revisit it in October?
October, and give me a little time in it, because I don't wanna, I'm not blowing it off by any means.
No.
I just don't have the time to give it due diligence.
Okay, why don't we do that?
Thank you.
Okay, communications. I already discussed 15 because I told it and it already did. 10,
Michelle had 8, 9, 10, right?
8, and 9 was, and I.
Hey. Want me to begin?
Yeah.
Diane? Yeah, this is a letter from Rhode, and I just think that anyone who's left, a few people left, should hear what Rob Rocchio has to say to us. And he writes, "Dear Ms. Allen and the council, on behalf of Rhode, I would like to thank the council for its resolution number, I'm gonna try to condense, and its interest in preserving and enhancing Route 102 as a scenic roadway. RIDOT shares its commitment to ensure these corridors remain a valued part of the state's system of scenic roadways, as well as the community identity in Exeter." You know, and I'm reading this because I want the record to note it, because this is the kind of thing that we need to keep somewhere handy so that things don't go well. We say, hey, remember this commitment? Anyway, RIDOT recognizes the importance of safeguarding the unique character of the Route 102 corridor, making sure it remains visibly compatible with its natural and historic surroundings, while ensuring the road remains safe, functional, and accessible. Coordinating among RIDOT, the Scenic Roadways Board, and the local community balances necessary infrastructure improvements with protection of scenic resources within and adjacent to the public right-of-way. It's not much longer. In collaboration with the town, RIDOT will continue to pursue content-sensitive solutions that address guardrail designs, drainage, and head wall improvements, and other safety enhancements, while preserving the rural character of the corridor. This includes protecting stone walls, mature trees where feasible, and minimizing unnecessary visual impacts. We are also pleased to see that the Scenic Roadways Board has recently approved a new guidebook for any entity wishing to make alterations to a scenic roadway. It should be published on our website. RIDOT also installed And after that, it says 6 new scenic highway identification signs that were missing. I don't ever remember seeing any, but they may have been, including signs at each end of the designated scenic roadway and at key locations for the corridor. And finally, we welcome continued dialogue with the council and the community as projects are planned and developed. Thank you for your commitment to preserving one of Rhode Island's valued scenic highways. And I wonder if this should go into play with the 600 or 400, I read 6, I read 400 units further up the street, and whether or not that will enhance our scenic roadway.
You're gonna have to
I
get a
just
curb
wanted to
cut.
read this, because I thought people would hear it, but I guess the person I thought should hear it just walked out, so. Because Myrna did a lot to get that thing going. And then the ACLU is number 10. And this has to do with the streaming of our meetings. And it just speaks to it, and live streaming is on page 6. And Lynn, I heard Lynn say, oh, I think we should. And can we work on this? I guess that's my question. I mean, can we work on live streaming? I don't know what we have to do.
Not with this facility up there.
The new facility, yes. Not here.
We won't do live streaming here.
We don't have the capability.
Isn't that hard?
Don't have the capability here.
I know.
Okay.
Right.
And why is
It's
that?
not technology wise,
We don't want to spend it here. We'd rather-
It's what, Ken?
it's not just the technology that it impacts the meeting itself.
It impacts what? You turned away.
It impacts the meeting itself.
Sure.
So Ken, you give me an example. Go ahead if you want. You know, that if it's on the agenda, it's a live stream and people are gonna be interactive with it. If something happens, the meeting's over.
It doesn't have to be interactive. That's an option.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it, I wouldn't want
It
it.
is not interactive. You can't disrupt the proceedings.
No, I wouldn't want it to be.
If it's posted as it will be live, certain things will be impacted.
The churches are using live
But that's
streaming
not a
now.
public.
Well,
No, we can live stream anything. You know, we can live
Okay,
right
well-
now.
no, I just think the report is interesting. It says 32 of the 39. And by the way, I'm not so sure I want people to look at my face and what I say, but I hear that people think it should be done. It
Democracy
says
dies in
30
the dark.
32 of the 39 cities and town councils continue to live stream their meetings. It says here, through Zoom, YouTube, ClerkBase, or public access channels. I don't know how you live stream through ClerkBase, but, okay, never mind that. And then it says, since the report, 2 municipalities, Barrington and Forster, have been added to that list. The 5 municipalities that still do not appear to allow their constituents to watch their council meetings remotely in real time are Boroughville, Central Falls, Exeter, Johnston, and West Greenwich. And then it speaks about school committees as well.
But we do have some.
The report's
They can
wrong.
Go online and still watch.
It is wrong.
Right?
I read this,
We have.
Oh.
this came out.
This piece
Whoever,
that we have.
whoever did the survey
Yeah.
Oh.
did not.
Wait,
I'm sorry, what did you
side
say?
conversations, wait.
What'd you say?
So in this report, it has, in the appendix in the back, cities and towns, and I saw it right away as soon as it came out. It says, the city town council, watch live stream, obviously no for us, right? Video archived, it says no. Ours are on YouTube, all of them, from going back probably just as much or longer than most of these.
Some people
communities.
can't find certain ones.
That's a different story. I mean, they're in the same title, and make sure that for every single one of them with the date change on that people look for them, it's another story. Now, the other one was, packet outline, I don't know what that is, that could be that the agenda matches the video,
No.
and that's a service that would have to be provided. And then remote participation, no. And that would be participating from home, not having to come to the meeting.
Not all of them have to be that way, though.
I don't believe any of them should be that way.
Well, I wonder what Forster or Hopkinton have done, because they've got yes, so.
Well, they went live, we could just put it live on YouTube, and when it comes, we need the equipment. Right now, that is from 2010,
It doesn't have the capability.
it's going down, right?
Yeah, it
It's
doesn't
not
have the
working right.
capability, okay.
And do you want to invest
So-
money here or down there?
Well, no, when you say, it, I'm just curious, what will be there that we don't have here?
Polycom system.
I just,
Yeah.
you have lots of
Polycom system.
vacancies, you have lots of vacancies that need to be filled. And it would
Well-
just seem to me this is an opportunity for you to be able to appeal to the community and build community
Yeah.
awareness.
But now Joe just said what's missing here that will be there, but I have no idea what language this is he's speaking. Did you say polyform?
Polycom.
Polycom.
Poly.
Well, Pat doesn't, she's laughing at me, but she doesn't know either.
Come on, folks. There's already one over there. It's got a camera,
Yeah.
microphones,
Who got
camera
that
follows
set up?
everyone.
Who set that up?
Whoever we bought the building from.
All set up over there.
You mean it's already there?
He took it away, but that
He
thing's
took
there.
it,
He took the camera away.
he took the camera away.
Right, we'll just buy a new one.
We gotta buy a new camera. Okay, so it's almost ready to go. So I'm just trying to get to the
Okay,
bottom.
do we
All
want
right.
to take a 5-minute break before executive session?
Oh, I don't need that.
Except for Ray, yeah. I'll make a motion to have a 5-minute recess.
I have all these towns, because we got a few of these.
Who?
These different.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Just don't.
We need.
Get us time.
Yeah.
One on the council, the council rules.